Welcome to No Flipping Excuses with Jason Lucchese. Jason Lucchese was the guy voted least likely to succeed by his high school peers. Today, Jason's a real estate flipping ninja Jedi Knight assassin who's taken his drive, street smarts, and never give up attitude and converted them into a real estate flipping business and freedom-based lifestyle. After years of being chained to a cubicle in the mortgage business, watching his coworkers go bust, customers go bankrupt, and his hairline go bye-bye, Jason decided to make a change and blaze his trail to the flipping promised land. Each episode, Jason shares real-life real estate case studies, tips on how to find, finance, and flip deals, and mindset tactics he uses every day as a real estate investor, mentor, and leader so you can free yourself from the shackles of corporate America, fire your boss, and live the life you've always dreamed of, right flipping now. Here to share the truth about flipping houses, finding sellers, delivering buyers, real estate investing without the reality show hype, and all-around general business badassery, your host, Krav Maga enthusiast, husband, and father of 3, Jason Lucchese.
Hey there, it's Jason Lucchese, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the No Flipping Excuses Show. I want to thank you for being a listener, a subscriber. If you have not already become a subscriber, I strongly suggest you do so. You will get first dibs, first notice of when we release new shows, which are coming out on a weekly basis. So you will get first notice. Do me a favor too. If you love the show, like a lot of folks do, go ahead, leave us a 5-star review and let us know what you enjoy about the show. If you just enjoy all of the free real estate content that you're receiving, please let us know. We want to have your feedback. Leave us a review, leave us a 5-star rating, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because that's going to help you out with making sure that you get notifications of when the show is coming out with new releases. So other than that, I am so excited to hop into our subject today, and that is going to be discussing how you could run your business virtually and picking out a target market. Now, I am here with, most of you know this already. If you're not a subscriber, well, you're in for a big treat, and that is the myth, the legend, the ninja, the samurai, Mr. Michael Bretthauer, known to most folks as Mike the Marine. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for. I think I got promoted. I went from just being a ninja to being a full-blown samurai. So that's wow.
Yeah, Mike's the CNO of the office, the Chief Ninja Officer. So he's definitely taken his game up a little bit. So, Mike, we're going to be discussing running your business virtually here and picking out a target market. Why do you think that's so important to discuss? And especially, right now with everything that's going on, 21st century technology is really starting to take off. What's your take on everything?
I think, the way businesses are running nowadays, every business is kind of moving towards that virtual aspect of things. They're not so much, the traditional business style, I think, works still. But when it comes to like what we're doing as real estate investors and a lot of other types of niches out there, everything's coming to a virtual point where you're working from home. And a lot of jobs are even allowing, employees to start working from home. In fact, I have a family member who works from home and her business or her job is in California and she works out of home here in Indiana. So it's just something that, if you haven't started working towards that, you really should start opening your mind and realizing that a virtual business isn't only, a good way to run your business and make it easier for you, but it's just, if you don't do it, you're going to get left behind.
No, that's true. And that's the key thing there is, not letting yourself get left behind, because I'll tell you this, there are a lot of folks out there teaching you stuff that may have worked like in the late 90s and early 2000s. And that stuff is just extremely outdated. Nobody wants to go around like I used to do and, drive around, go from real estate office to real estate office. And, you'd have to talk to a bunch of real estate agents. And for those of you out there that are real estate agents, I'm not, knocking you. But one of the things that I did, and it was just probably a complete foolish thing. I just would take agents out left and right to lunch. So I was like literally like a meal ticket for so many agents, and it resulted in not a lot of business being done. It resulted in me, having to give up a lot of my unemployment checks to other people, and it wasn't fun. It definitely wasn't fun, and you really have to make this business fun, or else you're going to get, caught up in doing this or that, and it's going to be tedious, and you're really not going to enjoy it. And you have to enjoy this business. You have to be able to do that, right, Mike?
Absolutely. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're just not going to be very good at it. If you just hate, it's like waking up and hating your life. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, that's true.
It's
And Mike's used to serve our country and would have to do long drives a lot too. Once you'd have to go from Los Angeles to pretty much almost San Diego, right?
Yeah, actually, I worked in Oceanside for a while, so my family and everything lived in LA, so I had to it was a 4-hour drive, and it was only like, I don't know, like it wasn't very far. Like here in the Midwest, that same drive would have taken maybe an hour. But because it was LA and it was like, I had to wake up super early just to avoid as much traffic as possible. I was in traffic. I hated it. It was just awful.
Yeah, no, and I did too, especially when I was with Countrywide. I remember when I came here to Indianapolis, I literally got my apartment, which was less than 5 minutes away from the actual office. And that was probably the shortest drive I've ever had, besides, what I do now, which is, I get out of bed and my office is, 20 feet away. So it's not much there to do, but I didn't get to where I am today without having to go through the trial and error. I felt like I was getting left behind, especially with the technology that was coming out. Like you could literally do this business from anywhere you want, as long as you have a laptop and a cell phone, and make sure that laptop has a strong internet connection, because you're going to want to be able to do this business. You could do this business from wherever. If you're in Australia, or if you're maybe someplace in, France, wherever it is, someplace here in the States, it doesn't matter where you're at. You could have the right systems in place. And that's what we're going to be discussing quite a bit here in this particular episode. So make sure you have your pens available. Make sure you have your notepad available. And I say pens because you may run out of ink from everything that we're going to be doing. So do that, because like when I was first starting out, and I know I mentioned this just a little bit ago, but there's a lot of strategies out there being taught that truly don't work anymore. You know what I mean by that, Mike? Like hanging the bandit signs. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with bandit signs. Don't get me wrong. They are effective if you use them the right way. But posting them and doing, some silly nonsense with the bandit signs doesn't really work out most of the time. You'll get angry phone call sellers, and you'll get people that just don't want to budge on their houses. Maybe they're just curious more than they are wanting to sell you their property. Or the driving for dollars, drive for, the for sale by owner properties, or, door knocking. That's a really good one too.
Yeah, that one's really fun.
Yeah. I know when Mike first came back here to Indianapolis, we would go and do the door knocking, and I would, teach him the ropes of that. And it wasn't really fun, because we were also going after people that were in a distressed position. Their homes were in default. So we would go during the prime time of when we knew they were home. And that was between like 5 and 8 o'clock in the evening. So we'd go there, and more than likely we'd interrupt their family time. We'd interrupt them during dinner time. And it worked, but it wasn't like the best. There was an easier way to do it. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
Oh yeah, it equates to the same thing now as making phone calls. Only instead of having to walk to each house and spend hours, maybe getting a hold of 5 people, you can spend 1 hour, and get a hold of that same 5 people, and then spend hours and get a hold of 15, 20 people.
No, absolutely. It all boils down to the time you have. All of us have quality time that we've been given and it's up to us on where we want to allocate that time. And if you want to allocate it doing driving for dollars and door knocking and taking real estate agents out to lunch, you're going to get left behind. You're going to get left behind. And the purpose of this particular episode is to get you up to what's working right here, right now. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be discussing the virtual business versus traditional business model, how running your business virtually can dramatically increase your profits, how to pick a target market for your real estate investing business. You may want to do it right here in your backyard, or maybe you want to do it in some other different markets. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss how to research possible target markets. Once you pick your target market, how to set up your business so you could run it virtually from your home office, or maybe if you enjoy going to like a Starbucks or wherever it might be, maybe that might be your office too. What team members you will need in your business, how to reach out to the different team members and what to say to them, keeping in touch with your team and staying on top of deals, and much, much more. So stay tuned. We are going to hop into some great stuff here in just a second. Have you been struggling to close your first real estate deal? I hear this all the time, and you're not the only person in the not having closed your first deal boat. I was there, and the feeling is horrible. I can tell you on page 103 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily overcome closing your first deal quickly and easily without using any of your own money or credit. My first deal closed when I was on vacation. I made $26,000. You can do the same thing. Grab a copy of my book at getmyflippingbook.com and you can get your first deal closed for massive profits. I have copies of my book available at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits on your first deal, closing within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. www.getmyflippingbook.com. Welcome back, my friend. We are going to be diving in here to be discussing why is it important to run your business virtually. Now, I will tell you this. There's nothing wrong with running a traditional business model, but if you don't incorporate a lot of the 21st century technology into your business, you're going to start feeling like that left behind feeling, and that's really not good. So what we're going to be discussing here, the virtual standpoint for, your wholesaling business. Now, if you are doing like a rehab or a buy and hold, you might not be able to do as much from a virtual standpoint, but don't get me wrong. When there's a position in your business, it can be completely outsourced. So we're going to be hopping into a lot of the mindset here from a wholesaling standpoint. And we will, if we get enough people that respond back to us with feedback and they want to know more about rehabbing as far as from a virtual standpoint, we could absolutely do that. But for this particular episode, we're going to be discussing it from a wholesaling standpoint. So the best way to do this is, you definitely need to have a smartphone. I know my dad still has one of those, the flip phones, and, it's good for him because he only maybe talks on it maybe 3 times a day at most. He doesn't do text messaging. So he doesn't need like an email or internet connection. I don't even think he would know how to use the internet or the email, but he's fine with that. He doesn't want to adapt to 21st century technology because he just doesn't want to. But for you, let's talk about really running your business from a virtual standpoint. Now, depending on where you live, your best target market, may not be in your backyard. Now, I was discussing with one of our students, Michael Hicks, what he's doing, and he's up in like close to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he's doing deals in South Bend, Indiana, which is like a 2-hour drive. And he's doing some really cool things with operating the business virtually. Now, how did he get that all set up? It was mainly just from doing lots of, networking from a virtual standpoint. And we'll be having him come on here as a guest soon so he could give you more of it himself. But a lot of the folks that we talk to, sometimes their own backyard may not work out for them. So typically how this is going to work, if you want to start choosing and selecting your market, is you want to make sure that the areas that you're going to be investing in aren't going to, first of all, be like markets that have a lot of D-class properties. And what I mean by D-class properties are properties that are in like boarded up areas. There's high crime. There's high sex offender statistics in that area. It's just not a very desirable area that you would probably want a family to be living in. And let's face it, most of the houses that we are going to be wholesaling are more than likely going to be to rehabbers that are going to want to rehab it and sell it to a family. Or maybe an investor is going to come in and want to buy it and do a buy and hold. And if we sell them properties in D-class neighborhoods, they're not really going to get the capitalization rates that they want on these properties. So it doesn't make sense for them to even get involved. So most of them are wanting to buy in B and C-class neighborhoods, which C-class is going to be for your higher, lower income to lower tier for middle income. So it's going to be right in that range. And then B-class is going to be more middle income. It's going to teeter either below middle income or high above middle income. So you have that wide variety. And each market's going to vary. A-class is going to be more of your, your upscale type homes. And it's going to, you can still get in there and do those wholesales and rehabs. I only do those once in a while. It just has to make financial sense. And I guess I would probably say the exact same to you. If you want to make that as your niche, that's completely up to you. You're not going to have as many deals available to you just because, at least here in Indiana, I know, the multi-million-dollar homes or even homes above 500,000, they're not all over the place. So hopefully that makes sense. Other areas, obviously California is going to be different as far as value wise here. You're going to see much more multi-million-dollar homes compared to a market like Indy. But that being said, you could start selecting areas in that particular way. Some of the best ways for choosing markets to invest in, do a simple Google search. You could go on Google and you could find places that people are moving to, our top 10 places that people live in. You could find specific cities that way. Now, when you do that particular search, you're going to find, different markets. And like, say, for instance, I think one of the markets that pops up from Indiana a lot is Carmel, Indiana, Fishers, Indiana, Noblesville, which I live in. Those areas are going to pop up. Now, you're not necessarily going to want to do that particular area, but you're going to want to find like other areas surrounding that, like counties. You're probably going to want to do that particular county, like Carmel, Noblesville, and Fishers are all in a county called Hamilton. We like Hamilton County, but we really, really like Marion County because it has more of the B and C class type properties. We're going to find in, Noblesville, Carmel, and Fishers more or less, the A and B and some of the C class properties in those particular areas. So you want to find an area that is obviously good with your cash buyers. Now, if you listen to the cash buyer episode that we did, we discussed a lot about the cash buyers, and it's really important that you do listen to that because it's all about what your cash buyers want. It's not what you want, it's what your cash buyers want. So make sure you find out from them on what they, truly want. So let's talk about, some additional things here that you can do. You can use the multiple listing service to really find hot markets. And the best way to do that is to obviously get a real estate agent that can help you with this. If you're not having luck finding a real estate agent, what I would recommend and encourage you to do is probably go out and get your own real estate license. it doesn't take a lot to do that, and it doesn't cost a lot to do that. And you're going to be able to gain access to the MLS much easier. If you don't want to get your license, but say, for instance, you have an agent that you're working with and maybe they're super busy, you could become a non-licensed sales professional. So you can go in there and you can get that. I believe the wordage and the title for that is different from county to county, state to state. So it might actually be, in some other places, a non-licensed sales assistant. It varies from all over the place. But what I'm trying to get at here is you can get that access from a real estate agent, and they'll be able to give you access to the MLS. Now, what you're going to want to search is the particular markets in counties. So you're going to want to see like recently closed transactions. If you're not seeing a lot, and I'll give you a scenario here. Now, there's an area in Marion County, so it's Indianapolis. It's called Fountain Square. Fountain Square is like a really hot area right now. If I looked at the last 3 months of transactions, I'm going to go ahead and start seeing that there was probably, let's just say, 55, 60 transactions that were recently sold. If I go to like another county, let's just say Boone County, and it's more of a rural area, I'm going to probably see like 2 or 3, maybe 5 in certain counties or certain townships within that particular area. So the best way to do this is like, especially like in a hotter area. So what I want to start doing now is go back to Fountain Square, and I'm going to start looking at other areas around it. And if those areas are not performing the same way that, like a Fountain Square or a Perry Township or other areas around it are performing, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to look at my top 5. And what I'm going to also want to do is look at my not so top 5 and make sure that I really don't go after those, because that's probably not an area where a lot of cash buyers are wanting to buy. So to come back to this, from a cash buyer perspective, you're going to want to see in a particular area that you're wanting to find out if it's a good area to be investing in, from either wholesaling, rehab, or buy and hold. You're going to really want to find out what the recently sold transactions are, and then you're going to want to narrow that down a little bit more and find out the recently sold cash transactions, and that will be able to give you a really good identification of what areas that you're going to want to stay in. And that's also going to help you out too for finding the right types of cash buyers that are wanting to sell, and they're also wanting to buy. So that's going to be a really good area there too. So I personally go in and I really try and find the areas where there's decent activity. There may even be hot activity. I just want to see that, and also to a good indication of areas that are selling really well. Even if it's from a financed or cash transaction standpoint, look at the days on market. If days on market are really low, then you probably have a screaming hot deal that's going to be able to help you out dramatically. And you could also get some good ideas too from folks at real estate investors associations and other wholesalers. So you could contact other wholesalers. You could find them on, the bandit signs. So if you're driving around, you could find their own signs. So again, that you don't have to pay for those signs, but they do. So you could find those. You could find them on Craigslist as well. So if you go to Craigslist, I'll go on there right now as I'm doing this. So we go to Craigslist.com or Craigslist.org. They'll both pop up either way. You go down to the section that says services and then click on real estate. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull up all of the people that say like sell your house fast, or this one says moms buys houses. You're going to see a bunch of those people on there. And you could go, this one says cash buyers wanted. This one says I need to buy your home or I will starve. So that one's pretty funny. And then if you just go on there, it has the contact information already on there for you. So as I'm doing this, I have to verify I'm not a robot, and then it will give me the phone number, which I'm looking at right now for Marcus. The area code's 219. So that's not even an Indianapolis, or for that matter, an Indiana area code. So that's also a good key indication of people that are out of state that are looking to do this. So with that being said, make sure that you are going after the MLS, that you are checking the particular areas within your particular market. Make sure that you're really understanding that particular market, especially from an A, B, C, and D class area. Now we're going to be hopping into some additional information here very soon. So coming up, we're going to be discussing how to set up your business so you can run it virtually. Avoid the pitfalls of not setting it up right. You're going to learn from my mistakes and do it the right time the first time. And we're going to discuss what team members you will need in your virtual business. We're going to discuss different ways of staying in touch with your team. And we're going to discuss some of the resources I use for my virtual business. So stay tuned. We're going to be hopping into that here very soon. I hear from real estate investors how much of a challenge it is finding motivated sellers. This is happening all over the country. Real estate investors not knowing where their next deal will come from. I can tell you on page 141 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily find deeply discounted off-market deals. The 98% of investors out there don't have a clue about this. You can easily duplicate this process within your own business today. Grab a copy of my book now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can start finding deals for 50, 40, and 30 cents on the dollar without any competition. I have copies of my book available right now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. It's www.getmyflippingbook.com. Welcome back. Welcome. We are going to be hopping in here and really just discussing, some of the individuals that you need from a team perspective. We're going to be jumping into some of the resources that you definitely need, different ways to stay in touch with your team. Let's hop into this. Mike, are you ready?
Absolutely. I'm really excited to talk about how not only that we started running the business virtually, but how they can do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the first thing that I really wanted to discuss is what and who are the team members that you're going to need for your business. The first one here, which is really important, is a real estate attorney. They help you with setting up your business entity. So if I'm in California and I want to do business here in Indiana, they could set up my business entity the right way. They can make sure that contracts follow state laws. They could protect you and your business. The other thing too is they could be a great referral source for you. Mike, anything you want to add onto that?
Yeah, some people, they don't really know where to even start reaching out for attorneys, and they're kind of like agents. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, it's really just a Google search away, and you don't have to be scared of attorneys. They're here to help you. So Don't have that fear like, oh, I don't have an attorney. Well, Google one and call them. They're not going to bite.
Right. Like in previous episodes, we've discussed LinkedIn. They're on LinkedIn as well. If you just type in attorney, you could find people within particular areas that you're wanting to do business in. Same thing goes for the next team member as well, real estate agent. Again, we discussed this a little bit not too long ago, but a real estate agent could get you access to the local multiple listing service. They could help you putting offers in on listed properties. Also, that goes for putting in properties, on HUD, because you do need specific information that only an agent has to put those offers in on HUD. You can get help with purchase and sales agreements. So I'm a really big believer on using your own state approved purchase and sales agreement. They have access to that. They could connect you with buyers. There's a ton of buyers on the MLS, and they could help you get access to that. And a key here is helping comp out your properties, right, Mike? Like comping out the properties, that's like a big deal, right?
Oh yeah. If you're not doing your comps right, you can really set yourself up for failure. And not reaching out to an agent is such a simple way to fix that. I mean, why not put yourself in the position to, okay, I want to make sure I'm putting the right offer out there. I want to make sure I have all the information, and why not have somebody to help me do that? Well, an agent will help you do that. I'm not saying every agent, but once you get to the right one, and Jason's going to talk about how to do that, they're going to really be like a third arm to help you get deals done. And I mean, just even when you're looking at properties on like FSBOs on Zillow, how many real estate agents pop up in that column? I mean, they're everywhere. There's no way you can't find one.
No, that's true. And a couple good places to find even those folks at: Zillow and LinkedIn. Two great sources for finding those folks. And I'll discuss here towards the end here of a really great training that you can use. It's completely free, that you can use for finding these folks and knowing exactly what to say to them. Another team member that we encourage you to have is obviously a title company. If you don't have a title company, you can't close your transactions. And I highly encourage you to have an investor-friendly title company, somebody that knows investor transactions and knows, how to do what's called an A to B, B to C transaction. Because if you don't have that person in place, they're more than likely going to give you more headaches than they are going to be giving you more profits in your bank account. So that's really important to do. The other thing too is they could give you and help you with putting together a limited power of attorney, which if you're out of state, you're not going to be able to make every single transaction, which you shouldn't have to anyways. Most people, they definitely want to get that first, what I like to call the shut up check. the first check that you receive, I always like to, have that be the shut up check that you show all of your friends, your family, all of them that, doubted that you could get this going. So that's a huge thing too. Every deal after that, I typically just do a wire, because sometimes the checks take a long period of time to especially get funded into your bank account. Sometimes there's a hold on it. So if you have a big check of 20, 30, 40 plus $1,000, it's going to get held up. Compared to a wire, it's going to go right into the bank account. Boots on the ground too, Mike. Anything on that one?
Yeah, boots on the ground. Sometimes you don't, when you're running your business virtually, sometimes you don't, have an idea of what the property looks like, especially on Zillow. Like, most properties have at least a picture of the front of the house on Zillow. It's not hard. Or Google Earth. You can always find a picture of the front of the house. There's no way you can't. It's very rare that you can't. But every once in a while, you'll come across a seller, and we just ran across one recently where the guy said there's a hole in the roof. Okay, well, that's definitely something I want to look at, because when he says a hole in the roof, that could mean a little tiny leak, or in this case, what it ended up being was a huge, gigantic basketball-sized hole. And it went all the way through. It was horrible. And it was one of those things where I was like, all right, I have to see this before I can even gauge what kind of repairs it's going to cost him. I'm already assuming it needs a new roof, but what about everything in between? What about rain damage and stuff? I have no idea. And he can explain it to me till he's blue in the face, but I need to see it. So a boots on the ground right there is a seller. His feet are right there, literally where you need to see. So you can just ask him, hey, can you send me a quick photo? Or Craigslist. I mean, there are so many people around that will do little things like sending you photos for just, small little paychecks.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point there too. And if you have them do a little bit bigger role too, typically we give them like a cut from the net profit. So maybe that might be 5%, 10% of the actual net profits, just to have that person maybe put a lockbox on the door, do a video walkthrough of the property, maybe take a few pictures, because that's going to be stuff that's going to be extremely helpful when you're wanting to get the property sold and liquidated as quickly as possible, because maybe your cash buyers are out of state, but they need that information. Maybe they need to see the video. Maybe they need to see the pictures. Or maybe they also have their boots on the ground and they need to go look at the property and they need that lockbox information to go look at it. So that's really important as well. So let's discuss, some of the tools that you need here within your business, within your virtual real estate investing business. Main one here, it's a complete no-brainer, a reliable internet connection. Now, that doesn't really matter where, in all honesty. As long as you feel like you can stay focused and you can get what you need done. Most people, the one thing that really bothers me the most is most people think they need to like slave in their business. If you have that type of a business, that means you really are working too much in the business and need to focus on your business. So a lot of the things that we're going to be discussing on not just this episode, but future episodes are really just helping you put your business together to where you actually have a business and you could run it like a true CEO. So it doesn't really matter where you do this at. You could have your own office. I know they're coming up with all those individual office suites now, which are really cool, Mike.
Yeah.
You could rent an office for like what, $350 a month?
Yeah. In fact, there's even
and they're nice too.
Oh, they are. In fact, there's even shared office spaces that you can rent for even less.
Oh yeah, you could do that. One of our buddies showed us. I think it's like super cheap if you wanted to do it. Maybe like $12 a week, and you get an internet connection, and you get like a desk you could sit at. And it's cool too, because I liked it, because if I see other people like just doing some amazing things, I get motivated. I want to just go out there and just make it happen even that much more. So make sure you have that internet connection at your home office. If you're going to be like, Mike and I did a video not too long ago to where we showed folks, hey, we were in Denver, Colorado, and we were able to make calls. We were able to receive calls, and we did it like in a train station, which was pretty cool. Mike was there. He was videoing, and we just literally pressed a button, and we started having like, how many calls did we get that day? I think it was like
it was double-digit calls.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of cool because you weren't just sitting there by yourself. You were at a table.
I was.
And there was people all around us.
Yeah.
It was noisy. And it's like, if somebody has an excuse like, oh, I don't have a quiet place, it's just like, okay, well, neither did I at that time. I just you put on your headset and just took the calls.
I guess that's why the show's called No Flipping Excuses.
You really
right?
had no excuses at that time.
It was actually really noisy, but we didn't get any complaints from any of the phone callers.
No, they didn't even seem to notice. And I think it's, you didn't have anything fancy. It was your cell phone, and you actually had a plug-in headset. You plugged it into your phone, and just a regular headset. I mean, it wasn't anything fancy.
Right. What was not anything fancy at all. So, Mike, why don't we dive in here and talk about getting like a Google number? Why is that important? Especially like, say for instance, they have an area code in California and they're doing deals here in Indy. Why is the Google number so important?
The Google number is important is because when you call somebody, your number shows up on their caller ID. And this is, the 21st century. Everybody has caller ID. So if I'm calling Jason and I'm interested in buying his house, and he sees I'm calling from a 323 area code, he might not even answer the phone.
Yeah, that's right.
He's probably just going to let it go to voicemail. I'm not going to leave a message because I want to try and get him on the phone right away. I just lost everything. There was just a complete waste. But a Google number, it's free, which that's the key word right there, free. Mitigating your overhead and getting that free number. It's free to set up. You can set up, you can have it linked to any phone you want. You can have it linked to multiple phones. So if you have multiple people on your team, I mean, I don't understand why people don't take advantage of this. I mean, I get people that call me from out of state, and if it's
you can do texting from it too.
Yeah, you can do texting straight from your Google number. So your Google number will show up as a text message. They can call it, and a lot of people are like, well, I don't like that it says, oh, we're going to try and reach the Google subscriber. Well, you can turn that off. It rings just like a regular phone. They have no idea.
Yep. No, that's great. So that's a big resource there. Again, it's free. If you want to go to Google, I would just type in Google Voice, and you're going to be able to set that up for free. You could have voicemails. That's a really cool thing too. So once you start getting in the momentum of people calling you, and maybe you can't take those calls, they'll leave voicemails, and you could see the transcription. Not every single time Google gets the dictation right, but it does come across, and you can see what it's about, and it does do a pretty good job there with that.
Yeah, that's about 95% accurate.
Yeah.
I say it's very rare, and it gives you a good way to prioritize callbacks. because you can read the transcription real quick and just click the button. You don't even have to do anything, dial anything, just click it. It'll dial it up for you. And let's just say, and I throw this out there because this is another flipping excuse that people use. I don't have money, I don't have a phone. Well, if you have the internet and you can get the internet free from McDonald's.
You go to the library, you can go wherever.
Yeah. Google, you can just call from Google Hangouts. You still get the number, so it shows up as a phone number, but you don't even have a phone. And you're still calling them. Yeah,
that's a big no flipping excuses thing. Next resource here, signing documents from apart. Now, I know from my standpoint, this was key for me because I think it was when my second son was being born. We were selling a property and I couldn't make it to the closing, nor did I want to go to the closing. It was kind of a big deal. And so we figured out I could just do everything through DocuSign. And that was good. I used DocuSign, and that really kind of triggered me being like, you know what? I really don't need to be at these closings anymore. So what I would do is like I was talking about with the team, your title company could put together a proper, the limited power of attorney. And I typically give it to my real estate agent. I give it to my real estate agent and it's good to go from there. And that helps out quite a bit. So I just did the DocuSign. The only thing that needs to be hard signed is the actual deed. And that's it. And then as long as you're working with, a good title company, that's all you need. And then the rest of it could all be done through DocuSign. So that's a really great thing. Now that's something that's charged. And I believe you could do a free trial. So you could test it out, do a free trial.
You can also, if you don't want to pay for DocuSign, because if that's another excuse, snail mail, just have it sent to you and send it back. There's no reason you can't hard sign it.
No, that's true. And I remember and if you don't even want to use DocuSign or VeriSign or HelloSign, there's a lot of them out there. Say, for instance, you want to, and yes, you could do that all from your phone. The cool thing, too, is you could give limited power of attorney to the agent or whomever you've entrusted to sign your documents, and they could just sign everything for you while you're gone. I remember my very first deal that I started doing with the limited power of attorney. We were in Myrtle Beach, and we had a transaction that was closing, and I wanted to get it done. And I just had the agent signed for everything. And when I came back, I had a nice wire in my account of $26,000. So that's a great, powerful tool that we highly recommend. If you're working from your office, your home office too, I highly encourage you to get like a PO box or some sort of a suite that you can use. I use UPS. I use UPS. I paid for 5 years in advance, and I think it was only like $300 and some bucks. So pretty inexpensive for the next 5 years. Not really sure what was going to happen in that period of time.
But the beauty is it shows up as a regular address. It doesn't show up as a PO box.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And I know we're getting a little bit short on time, but I want to make sure that these last few resources you get before we hop on here to the next important part that I really, really want to share with you. You can get a business email through Google Suites. That's really cool. So if you don't want it to have like a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever at the end, if you want it to be like maybe Mike at MikeBuysHouses.com, kind of have like a professional looking email. That's a good choice there. Communication that we use here, we use Slack. Again, that's a free tool that you can use. A CRM that you can use, so customer relationship management tool. We use ProsperWorks, and that's something that's from Google. It's a great CRM. You could assign tasks. You could do a lot of cool things. If you're looking for something to just kind of test out, do a free trial, use ProsperWorks or Teamwork. We've used Teamwork as well. Now, if you want to do meetings with your team, you could also use GoToMeeting and Skype. Skype's free. GoToMeeting is going to be something that you do have to pay for, but it allows you to really kind of check in with your team and see exactly what's going on. So those are some really great resources. Mike, anything that you want to chip in on top of that?
Oh, I'm just excited to start talking about how we use these tools.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what's going to be coming up. Let's bring it all together is what's coming up. We have all the tools. Now we just bring it home. And I'm going to be discussing about, my own virtual business, how it works for me and why I do it that way. I'm going to talk about the obstacles that I came across on a daily basis and how I overcame it. And we're going to be discussing how these steps we are going to cover are there for you to just rip off, rinse, and repeat in your own business. So stay tuned, my friend. We're going to be hopping into that here very soon. Are you facing a roadblock with getting started in real estate? This is an obstacle a lot of brand new investors face. Building a rock-solid foundation is key to building your investing empire. I can tell you on page 95 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can build a lasting foundation that won't topple over when you're on the third floor. Do not avoid laying the proper foundation for your business. I've made this drop dead simple for you to just rip off and use within your own real estate investing business. Grab a copy of my book now at getmyflippingbook.com and you can have the confidence you need to find and flip deals consistently month after month. I have copies of my book available at getmyflippingbook.com and you can have a step-by-step proven plan for making profits on your very first deal or maybe that second deal, closing within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. Getmyflippingbook.com. All right, welcome back. We are going to be diving in now to bring this all home. We've dived into a ton of great content when it comes to your virtual real estate investing business. So let's just do a quick recap of the tools that we've done. We talked about the phone, the computer, the email, the virtual document signing, virtual meetings that you could use for over the internet, team communication, lead organization with a CRM. Now, let's discuss this. So Mike and I like to use this stuff because even though he lives down the street, sometimes I'm gone, sometimes he's gone. So it's just really good to use these types of tools. And Mike, what would you say is probably the most common tool that we use together as a team?
It's got to be our CRM. It's the most effective tool, and we use it daily. I mean, I would say more than daily. It's open all the time on my computer.
Yeah, no, the CRM that we use is great for really just tracking everything. So like we can know where a deal is from start to finish. So it comes from prospect to appointment to under contract, and then that deal gets under contract to a cash buyer. We go to closing. So we just make sure the whole entire process, we know where all of the deals are inside our workflow.
We could spend a whole day talking about ProsperWorks too, because it's exactly like you said. Like each one, I don't have to tell him; he can just go in and look. And if something needs to be done, he can assign it to me. I can assign it to him. Yeah. Or what I like about it too, especially, is it keeps the chain of communication automatic. Like I don't have to input anything; it just automatically uploads, and I don't have to worry about it. So communication is key. Jason, I know you're really big on communication, and it's really made business a lot easier.
Yeah, if we're having a deal approaching closing, and we need the closing coordinator to really make sure that that's coming up, and we're getting things good to go. We have everything tied up, so we make sure that the closing statement's being reviewed. We make sure if somebody's going to be there, somebody's going to be there. We also make sure that we have, if we do not have somebody there, power of attorney's been signed and everything is good to go at that standpoint. So it's nothing like super fancy. If you don't want to use like a CRM for right now, maybe you just get started and the budget's a little bit tight, you can manage all of this yourself through like Google Sheets. That's a really great tool that we use still is Google Sheets. Google just has a lot of different apps that you can use that are absolutely free. So I highly encourage you to check out some of the stuff that Google has as far as some of their apps you can use. Mike, what else what else are you kind of thinking here?
One of the other ones I like is I know we didn't talk about it, but MailChimp. That's a good one we use for running the business virtually, and then especially using G Suite, having the we used to use our personal emails, but having the G Suite, it just tied it all together. I don't know, everything is so integrated with itself that it took a lot of the weight off of having to put information from one spot and dragging it into another, and allowed to focus more on being out there and getting the stuff done, doing it from my house instead of having to come to your house every day. I mean, it's really just, and I don't know, I didn't understand in the beginning when you would just come out here in shorts and a shirt, and then I finally understood it after you showed virtualization.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it going to solve everything for you? Are you not going to have to go look at properties anymore? Probably it's going to be a mixed bag for each individual. We still sometimes go look at properties, and it's mainly we're recording them and we're wanting to get more information out there for folks to really kind of understand what we look at when we're looking at properties, so you can really just tie it all together. And the cool thing with, a lot of what we've already discussed, like you could literally be like when I told you about me being in Myrtle Beach with my family, the whole thing transpired to me being able to do this on the phone. I was able to look at documents actually from my phone. If I needed to sign anything, DocuSign was right there. You could use it. I'm not sure about Android. Mike, does the DocuSign, does it go on an Android?
It does. It does have an Android app, and all smartphones right now and tablets have the ability where you can sign a document right from the tablet or right from the phone. You don't even need the app. It just, you open it and you sign it with your finger and you email it back.
No, that's true. And, a lot of what we've been discussing here, everything that you could be doing within your business can all translate to you just doing the whole thing from a virtual standpoint. And the cool thing here that I really enjoy is, having the virtual document signing, being able to use like a MailChimp to make sure everything's organized and everybody's, on the same path here, is key. And we want to make sure that, you guys are having the support that you have. And for you particular, I want to make sure that, this has been an impactful, episode for you. We discussed here that you should absolutely make sure that, you have your team set up. So make sure you get the real estate attorney. That's going to be key. Tons of referrals can come to that. You can get divorce leads, affidavit of death leads, probate leads, bankruptcy leads, and I could go on. You could have the real estate agent help you out as far as also getting deals, doing comps for you, so much stuff. Title company is going to help you out with closing your deals. Boots on the ground, we talked about how to find those individuals. We talked about a lot of the resources that we're using here too. DocuSign, VeriSign, HelluSign. You could use any of those. And you could find all the links for all of this within the show notes. So if you are on our blog, or if you're not, definitely check it out. It's at noflippingexcuses.com, and you'll be able to find our blog on there. It's got all of the information on there, all the freebie links that we have for you to use. So make sure you're doing that. And, it's just huge. Make sure you have the team, because you're going to be able to make so much offers. You're going to be able to get buyers. You're going to be able to find out areas that you're going to want to invest in. That's key, because once you have the buyers, where they're wanting to buy, the business becomes much easier at that point. So it doesn't matter if you're up in Seattle, Washington, and you're doing business down in Tampa, Florida. As long as you have the right tools, which we just gave you, in hand, this is going to help you out so much more. You could find these people on LinkedIn. You could find these people on Zillow. They're all over. And we want to make sure that you have that. If you need a more in-depth view of it, because I know obviously this is just an audio and you're not really seeing what we're doing on the screen, I want to be able to give that to you as well. So make sure you head on over to getmyflippingtraining.com. It's a free web class that you could sign up for. It's absolutely for free for our subscribers here. So make sure you do subscribe as well. And again, you could go to getmyflippingtraining.com, and you could sign up for that for our next class. And I'm going to go in depth for you. You're going to be able to see my screen. You're going to be able to see exactly what I do with the LinkedIn stuff and some additional information as well. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a really great web class that we put on. So make sure you do that. If you really enjoyed this episode, leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a comment on what you enjoyed. And also make sure you subscribe, because you will get first notification of whenever we do and release a new episode, which we're going to be doing on a weekly basis. So you want to make sure that you receive those and you're one of the first to get notification of that. And you could start implementing, you could start ripping off and doing all of the information that we share with you. So besides that, thanks for being with me here, right now. Again, there are no flipping excuses. Go out there, make it happen. Be a rock star that I know you have the capabilities of doing. You have the power, my friend, of being absolutely great. I will see you on our next episode. You take care. Have a great day now.
Thanks for listening. For show notes and links to anything discussed on today's program, visit noflippingexcuses.com. If you'd like to call the show, dial 317-900-1307, 24/7. Leave a message with your first name and where you're calling from, and include your question, comment, or concern. Who knows? You might end up on the air with Jason Lucchese. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. The links are posted at noflippingexcuses.com. Remember, you can close more deals now, make your own rules, and design and live an amazing life without having some jerk-off boss tell you what to do. Share noflippingexcuses.com with like-minded people you know who are ready for badassery, crushing it in real estate, and enjoying freedom to whatever you like, whenever you like it.